baby. And I can't make a move. Like a child, a star for love. I stayed there as long as I had to. I'll cry a river of tears that flows to the sea. Baby, if
Oh,
you
wow,
run away,
this is really, really beautiful.
baby, if you leave.
Australia is a big country. A very, very big country. It's easy to forget that it's actually not a country. It's actually a continent. It's taken 5 full days to get to the beginning of our expedition in the Kimberley, in the far northeastern part of Western Australia. You know what it feels like on the first day of a trip when you just set off and you've got that insane mayhem, just, you know, up to the point you leave, and then you leave, and then you have to get through the city, and then you suddenly realise that you're out. We're in the bush. Even though you've still got 3 days to go, but you're in the bush. Ah, it's such a. I love that feeling. The Kimberley is our goal, but to get there from my home in Perth means taking the main road north, camping by the side of the road as we go. We've had a good, close to 9.5 hours behind the wheel today. Been a really good stretch. And of course it's very nice for me now because I'm driving my own truck. So many trips I do, not driving my own truck. I love driving my own truck because I've got everything around me to keep me happy and nothing to bug me. So what we're going to do now is find a place to camp. Actually quite soon. I'll give it another 10 minutes and then I'm going to start slowing down to find a place to camp. It's a first night's camp, so we don't want to set it up at night because first time we camp together, so let's make it easier on ourselves. Nothing more to do except get something cold out of the fridge. Four-wheel driving is unlike any other thing in the world, I think, because, well, it's not about the destination. It's about leaving town. It's about leaving convenience. It's about leaving the commonplace. It's about getting away from as much as you possibly can. And already, here we are, parked at the side of the road. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about. Already. And we just left. We've got all 3 weeks to go. 3 weeks of not worrying about anything and just enjoying the nothingness. Plus the beauty of the nothingness. I have been lucky enough to have been stopped by one of these giant trains hauling iron ore to the coast. In 2001, a train on this line recorded a world record for the longest and heaviest train, hauling 682 cars, 99,000 gross tons on a 7.3 kilometre long train. Today, some of these trains make the world's largest robots. They have no driver. End of day 2, again, but we've made about 10 hours driving today. We're again going to drive until the sun is just above the horizon and then we'll look for something to camp. Quite a lot of wind today, quite a few flies today, and hoping the wind is going to die down because camping in a wind this and not that much fun. And the very next thing I know, I've got a puncture. I went driving off-road looking for a campsite in the lee of a hill to try and get out of the wind. And this was the cost. And the next thing, through the sidewall, straight through the sidewall.
not repairable. I commonly carry several jacks in the vehicle because you never know when or why you're going to need them. Sun's coming up. Just the first rays of the sun. Oh, I won't say what I was about to say because that's more interesting. Second night, still on our way. We've still got a full day's drive ahead, and we decided, well, Chris's advice, Chris is our guide, he has said we should start our adventure in the Kimberley by visiting Wolf Creek Crater. It might be beyond the amount of time we've got today. If not, it's Langley Crossing, so we do have an alternative. But I do have to mention the tyre pressure monitoring system that actually did its job yesterday. We were looking for a place to camp. It went beep, beep, beep. I looked down, it had dropped below 2 bar. I thought, okay, well, let me get onto a flat surface so I can at least see the tyre on a flat surface so I can then see the bulge clearly, and it was punctured. So yeah, I think this is the very, very, very first time for me that it has actually done its job. But I don't get that many punctures, so well, it's not really a fair measure, is it? But anyway, it did its job. So now I have to put the sensor back on the tyre. Distances in Australia, they really do boggle the mind. And I remember the first time it struck me that this is the case was when I went on the Canning Stock route, which is this time of year, 2017. Alice Springs, on this red road, and it was my first outback expedition in Australia. And I remember we crossed across the Northern Territories border, and there was a road sign saying next services 1,100 kilometers. This reads 759 kilometers, but it's been erased because it is now far, far more than that. Now think about that. It takes a day, a good driving day, a very good driving day, if you can do that many kilometers in a day. You could actually feasibly be the only person on that road for the whole day. Granted, it wasn't a sealed surface, it was a gravel road, but to me, that is, I just love that idea. Langley Crossing and the Fitzroy River. At last we can take a break from driving. Chris, our guide, driving the white Troopy, has guaranteed us a great spot next to the river. But will the crocodiles in the river pose a threat to Jeremy, who is camping in a ground tent? It would be better to have a steeper bank close or set Jeremy back from the water. That's good, doesn't it? Especially up here. So Chris, are they freshwater or salties?
I reckon from here it's a freshie.
Because they're long and thin?
Yeah.
Not.
Yeah.
Good that we saw them.
Yeah, there's a few around.
Oh look, he's going into the water.
How cool's that?
one way that Australia has disappointed me in terms of wilderness travel, and that is its bird life. By comparison to most of Africa, there's far less of it. But it's very, very natural to compare places one visits with places you've visited before, like the landscape and the trees, the forests, the colour of the water, the colour of the sunrise. But every now and again Australia redeems itself massively, and that is when I've been camped and woken up near water. The bird calls this morning were fantastic.
Another similarity that I can't help making is between Kimberley's boab trees and the African baobab. They are the same species, but argument continues regarding their origins. They are too new to have been part of Gondwana land before the earth crusts split, and too old to have been brought here by people. Or were they in Australia first and found their way to Africa? This remains an unsolved mystery. Our travelling companion Chris was once a resident of the area, living in Broome for several years. He knows the Kimberley very well indeed, and he's just made us breakfast, a most welcome surprise.
And the good thing now is having the inverter, you can have a toaster. So then you can have toast.
You got a toaster?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. I do.
You got a toaster?
Yeah, and I'm aware. I've
Now,
seen it a
mate,
couple of times.
one night,
You know that's not. He doesn't feel nearly as bad about his coffee machine as he once did.
You know my coffee
A
machine
toaster.
story.
I smell coffee and remember last evening Jeremy boasting about his coffee machine.
Dude, would you please bring me an espresso in the teepee tomorrow morning?
I could probably do that.
And he wasn't joking. This is possible not just because of a reasonable battery, but more importantly, a charging system that will replenish the battery quickly and efficiently. I asked for a Grande Soya Macchiato no whip extra foam with room, and the only thing you got right was the room.
the bloke's got to be comfortable. Anyway, we'll do it one night.
These are nice. Brekkie. Proper brekkie. Right, we're chasing the sunset on our way to a place called Wolf Creek Crater. And we're actually kind of leaving the Pilbara now and actually entering the Kimberley. So what I'm seeing now is kind of my first glimpse of the Kimberley proper. Wolf Creek Crater, a meteorite crater, and it's 20 k's to go, so again we're chasing the light. Wolf Creek Crater is the second largest crater in the world from which fragments of a meteorite have been collected. It's 880 meters across, and dating has shown that a meteorite crashed to the Earth about 300,000 years ago, weighing about 50,000 tons and thought to have been traveling at 15 kilometers a second. This stretch here is going to be the last on sealed surface for a while. Kununurra is a small town at the head of the GiBB River Road. GiBB River Road is one of the most well-known roads in the Kimberley, and we are going to be hitting that road from tomorrow for a week. the place called the Ivanhoe Crossing. We're going to cross now. It's it's one of the roads that leads onto the GiBB.
Oh Lord, I see what brings me here. It's a mother to all my wandering. The valley stream will
Kangaroo. They're absolutely suicidal. Easy to repair, but they run into car. They're suicidal. They just, you know, I saw it for a split second. Hate hitting animals. And so my conclusion, these are our little whistles that are supposed to, I've got two of them on the card, one here, emit a loud, a high pitch whistling sound that doesn't work. It's supposed to scare off roos. Oh well, end of that review. Don't waste your money. In the far northern reaches of Western Australia, the winding road takes us high over the shipping centre of Wyndham. Wyndham is the most northerly port in Western Australia, and it was developed in 1885 after finding gold in the Halls Creek area. But this below us here is actually a cattle and iron ore port. It's not functioning as it once did, but over the years, over 2 million cattle were processed down there, and the shipping can come, big ships can come right through from the Timor Sea right down here and load up with cattle, and most of the cattle were sold to the United Kingdom. And not far away is the small town of Kununurra. The town of Kununurra is really the gateway to the Kimberley, with the bustling airport and shuttle service for taking tourists into the Kimberley, as well, of course, a very large campsite which is on the banks of the lake. We're going to take a break here, clean ourselves up before we hit the GiBB River Road tomorrow. We are finally on the GiBB River Road, and well, this is one of the hallmarks of the GiBB. Lots and lots of river crossings. So that is the most iconic view of the GiBB.
This looks fantastic with the three vehicles going down the hill with the rangers in the background.
So we got a bit of time, and so we thought let's make the most of it and try and find a camping spot, maybe next to the river or on the river, but it is tidal. So we have to take that into consideration, and by the look of it, tide is quite low at this time. So here's the challenge. We can't camp too close to the edge of the river because of saltwater crocodiles and the fact that Jeremy's on the ground, so we would have to get away. And as you can see around me, not an easy place to find a campsite that's going to work really well for us. So what we're going to do is we're going to fly the drone, and we know that there is a similar track running along the river on the other side, but the other side, the bank, is a little steeper than this. So maybe we can find a place, like right over there, for example, where we can actually find a safe place to camp on the edge of the river. Jeremy has been flying photographic drones for almost a decade, so I'll get him to do the hard part.
75 meters. I'm up a ways. I'm probably too small to see. I'm going to go across the river.
Okay, go across.
Looking at you.
Can you cross the... Okay, I'm just talking about over there.
Okay, got it.
That bank over there, that bank there, and that bank there. There are three areas where it's clear of trees,
Okay,
and it looks like a sandy bank.
I'm going to do a quick recording because this looks cool.
Okay, that sandbank there looks promising, doesn't it?
So I can spin around in a moment. So I'm gonna go down the river a little bit. Now look on this. Look on your screen.
Yeah.
Downriver a little more. There's actually a flat spot.
Okay.
That's nice. There's a bird going through frame. That's really cool.
To see us.
We're going to be on the right side.
We'll be on the right-hand side of the screen.
Right. You can see your car now.
Oh yes, there you go.
I'm going to keep going where I'm going. I've got a line on the crossing start on the other side.
Okay.
So I'm just going to fly by.
Okay.
There's the logs or rocks in the water.
So crossing back across to go and find the track leading down the river. Oh, it's beautiful. Look at that. So now on the track on the other side of the river. Okay, that's easier going. This side. I've never done that before. I've never used a drone before to recce a campsite. How good is that? The blessing and the curse of travelling in Australia. Because overland and outback travel is so popular, you do get lots of vehicles. But because you get lots of people doing this, tracks like this have been made. People want to come and camp next to the river. If four-wheel driving and this kind of touring was not popular, these tracks plain wouldn't exist. So, and the chances are we will be completely alone next to the river. Oh, what do you reckon? Is this the place?
Yeah, this is what we saw.
Is this what we saw? It looks very good.
I think it's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think it's all right.
Okay, go.
Right. Oh, it's a better camera. Bloody hell, you're covering it. Yeah. It's swimming in the stuff.
Look, there's no flies. There's no flies, mate. Hey?
Yes, but can you breathe?
Good, no.
You'll be right. A couple of drinks.
Oh, man, that is like
Look, there's
having a
no
couple of drinks.
flies.
Let's give it. Let's see how long it lasts. 1007.
There's no flies.
Plenty of flies.
Hey.
Look, they're all over you.
Yeah, it's coming back. They're coming back.
Why? Why?
Actually, it is. It actually is.
I wash.
It actually is better than it was. It really is for the moment. There's been this little. This is a big change, but it may be because there's a cloud of gas around it right now from that spray.
I don't think it's got. I don't think it's that. I think it's the fact that it's getting dark and the flies are starting.
So
to
we're
go
doing
away.
a test in the middle of the part where they all go away anyway.
Yes.
So if we keep spraying things until it's dark, it'll work perfectly.
By the time all these things are completely empty, there won't be a single fly.
There will also not be any sun.
What were you talking about?
He's making stuff up.
I forgot what we were talking about. What were we talking about?
Yeah. What does this short-term, long-term conversation have to do with me anyway?
Do you find it difficult making decisions? Well, at least. Really gorgeous. Well, the flies have gone away. They are actually making things quite unpleasant, but what a place to find ourselves. There are campsites along this river, public campsites, but you can't get better than this. Well, good morning and welcome to our little spot on the Pentecost River. We'll be continuing down the GiBB today, probably earlier than we would have liked because the flies have already arrived and it is yet to reach 5:30. This is such a beautiful spot. And the river crossing that we'll be doing this morning is the, of all of the places in the Kimberley, it's the most photographed, and that is the river crossing at the Pentecost, which of course is what we did yesterday, but we'll photograph it this morning. Well, I found myself this morning taking refuge in my vehicle. Interestingly enough, there are a lot of flies out there, but very few in the cab. A few, but very few in the cab, so I can leave the door and get shelter. It's intolerable out there. I have to wear a net for it to be bearable, and then I can't eat my breakfast cereal, can I? Okay, back in the car again.
far earlier than I would have liked. The best part is the evenings and the early mornings as the sun comes up and everything, but the flies are just intolerable. So we will continue on the GiBB today, and Chris has come up with a couple of ideas of things that we can enjoy and do. I'm just hoping the flies don't become a menace during the whole trip. I'm beginning to think, and I have to be completely honest with you, I'm beginning to think that outback trips, expeditions in Australia, certainly Western Australia, June, July. You have to wait for the cold spell. So when we were in Birdsville last year, they said that the flies were extreme because they had late rains and it hadn't got really cold yet, because the really cold weather kills the flies. I think that's the secret, because it's May. May's not a good time. I don't believe May is a good time. Of course, I'm learning because I'm new to Australia. This is my third big trip that I've done, and the second one that has been plagued with flies. Right, can you hear that beeping? That is my left rear tyre. For the second time on this trip, my tyre pressure sensor warning indicator is giving me a warning of a tyre that's going flat. It's saying it's this tyre, and I can see it's going flat.
Yep.
Definitely going flat.
Right here.
Can you see it?
I can hear it change.
Let me just turn the
tread. It's right here. In between the tread.
Okay, I'm going to try and put a temporary seal in there.
Okay.
If I move it forward,
This
rotate it to this point.
This is the point right here.
Okay.
I don't think it'll seal it.
Is it just a...
It's in between the tread, but we could plug it and it would be
try and plug it. I'm going to move it forward so we can get to it easily. Tell me when to stop.
Actually, back up actually.
Where is it? Where's your hand?
Hand is here.
Okay, I need to go even lower because I need space. I need a lot of space.
Yep. Okay.
You say it's a sharp rock.
Very sharp rock. And the pieces of it have just come right, it's actually gone, it's literally gone through a tread into the flat of the tire. Not into the flat of the tire, but through the tread into the tire. That's how sharp the rocks are out here. Plug it out. See the challenge?
Yeah. We need to try and put one more in there.
Let's try one more.
I think it's done it. I think we might have succeeded.
Nothing but unlucky on that, because the rock was a thin shard straight into the top of the tread. No into the flat, I mean not in between the tread, into the top of the tread, and then we dug out. I dug out that shard, and the shard came out that was 1 inch long, and the rest of it just crumbled. So it was like a spear going through the top of the tread.
Slow down, Cobber.
Oh good?
Well, that has now proven to me the value of a tire pressure monitoring system. It did its job absolutely perfectly. Driving along, get a flat, warn, pull over, watch it go flat, sort it out, no possibility of tire damage. And what's now, the best part about it now is, if it starts going again, I know it's going to warn me. So I can now monitor it and check that my repair has worked while I'm driving.
From being fairly ambivalent towards tyre pressure monitoring systems, I'm now sold on them. Oh dear.
This makes for an excellent time to start talking up Cooper.
Yeah, I've been chatting to Cooper, also thinking about Mickey Thompson. Not that I don't think those other tyres would have done better than this, to be honest with you. I just got unlucky. However, maybe they're right, but I've used these KO2s for years. They're fantastic. They do a really good job. I can't read anything into it and say, oh, no.
That's an iconic little Aussie backcountry creek. That's pretty.
Quick stop in a pretty place. Check the tyre. The tyre is not going down according to the monitoring system. She looks fine. Looks fine. I just want to confirm, blokes, in Australia, hot and dry, time for men to be men. Let's go and have. I mean, we really deserve it.
Real men deserve it. Scones.
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 Scones. In America, it's scones.
Scones in America.
Yeah, but guys, we're not in America. We're in Australia, and
I
it's
don't care.
scones.
I didn't expect this. Who would have thought?
It's an oasis.
It's an oasis.
I noticed when we had arrived a rather banged up Land Cruiser 105 near the entrance. It looked like a recent accident.
Look at that.
I was right.
Went down 70 kilometers down the road and bang, that's what happened.
Oh,
Look at the bullbar he put through.
so they were both balls
Both in
were
the
on
road.
the middle of the road.
Yeah, two of them. Double banger. And one walked over to the gully there and died. And the other one is just not far, just standing around. Badly bruised. And the manager went over this morning now and shot the other one. It's no good. Both of them got bangled up in that. How we doing?
At least you're okay.
I had a seatbelt on.
And the next thing you're on your roof, and you know.
I had a seatbelt on. I was doing 40 kilometers an hour. Look, things happen. You're like,
Oh,
you
no.
don't know.
No.
You're like, you know?
Life happens.
I had luck yesterday, but it was all bad.
Just crazy man.
Ready to check. Is my mic working?
Affirmative.
Fantastic. Welcome to KBLX 102.9, The Quiet Storm. Tonight we're going to be listening to Sadal Watanabe on the piano and Clam on bass. Sit back and relax, enjoy a glass of wine, and enjoy as we play some, well, you know, relaxing music as we drive down the road and let you drift off into the sunset. Again, this is 102.9 KBLX, The Quiet Storm. Take care.
Back this morning on the road, and suddenly the traffic is just, we've seen 30 cars just in the last, been on the road for an hour. Suddenly very, very busy. not sure why, but this isn't why I go travelling overland. To me, lots and lots of vehicles on a gravel road is just, it's just dust, and the purpose of overland is to get away from people, and I don't mind a few people here and there, but yeah, I'm just finding this, it's beautiful countryside, but not spectacular. It's opening here. We're not far from Adcock Gorge, which is about 5 kilometres from where we are parked now. We just pulled off the main road, probably 100 metres or so off the main road. I think this is beautiful. I think it's absolutely perfect. I love this kind of campsite. It's kind of, nature has sorted everything out. We've got shade, we've got flat area, we've got soft grass, and we even have some firewood. I wonder what the fire rules are here. Chris will know. He's an ex-fireman, so we've been asking him things like that. Chris drove up to the top of the hill there, but he said it was nice, but there was no shade, and I think the trees are what make a campsite great. Going to look for another campsite. Flies are terrible. Well, just a slight, not actually moving, haven't moved very far. Flies might be better here, but there aren't as many cowpats lying on the ground. And we have these beautiful baobs. This is my kind of campsite. Doesn't get better than this. Baobab trees. Yellow grass. Along the GiBB there are places where you can get fuel. It's generally quite expensive, can be, but I still think that, I mean, you could get away with 550 to 600 kilometre range, but if you're going to explore a lot, go along the back road tracks, I recommend 1,000 kilometres. You need that kind of range in your vehicle to make the most of the GiBB River Road. As we near Derby and the end of the GiBB River Road, my conclusion is that in some ways the road has disappointed me a little bit, in that it's it's very easy going. It's just a gravel road. It's a 700 and something kilometres of gravel road with some interesting little interludes in between. There is quite a bit of traffic, quite a few caravans, and during high season, which is in a month's time, apparently dozens of caravans. So as an overland trip, it's good fun, yeah, but as an adventure, yeah, it's not much of an adventure. It's you could do it in just about any car. The road is good most of the way. There are some rough patches, but yeah, so it's been a little bit of a letdown. And the scenery's, I mean, it's beautiful, it's gorgeous, it's fantastic, but it's not breathtaking. There have been no scenes where I've gone, wow. It just hasn't happened. And so, yeah, I mean, I suppose I can tick it off now. It's good, done it, and I'm glad I did it. It's been great fun. But I don't have as much of a sense of accomplishment. So the last thing we're going to go and see now is the baobab tree in Derby, which I believe was once a prison. It was so big that it actually was a prison. And that for us will mark the end of our GiBB River Road trip. We have reluctantly decided to cut the trip short, again because of the flies. They really have become very difficult to live with. And as Jeremy said to me, he had no idea, he did not appreciate, because when he saw my crossing of the Australia expedition and the flies that we were trying to escape from, he said he had no appreciation of what it was like to live every single day in a fly mask. Indonesian Pilsner. Only one problem. And filming in a fly mask is not possible. And eating in a fly mask difficult, and doing everything, and it's unpleasant. So we actually left and headed west as fast as we could to get away from the flies, because the reports were down at Alice Springs, which is further east, the flies were really, really terrible. So we tried to get away from the flies, and we didn't manage to get away from the flies. The fact remains, if the flies are bad, I'd rather be somewhere else. The magic of touring are the afternoons and evenings around the camp, the early mornings around the camp, now spoilt. And welcome to our little spot on the Pentecost River. We'll be continuing down the GiBB today, probably earlier than we would have liked, because the flies have already arrived and it is yet to reach 5:30. And I've concluded that if I'm going to do outback Australia trips, they have to be in June or maybe even July, not before. There was more than one opportunity on this trip to take one of the tracks, the rough tracks, into the wilderness, but in every case we decided against it because of the flies. And so escaping the flies became our priority. That's no way to run a trip, because they have the potential to ruin things and make filming and creating content extremely difficult.
Oh man, that is like
look, there's no flies.
Let's see how long it lasts.
I think that maybe the Australian travellers are just so used to the flies that they just accept them as part of outback travel. So I have learnt outback Australia trips must be done after winter, not before. Alright, we're looking for our first beach campsite and driving in dust.
I see these just wind around and you just find different vistas.
Cannot see they do wind around. It's a case of just driving around and finding an open spot. There are a lot of people here. It says no camping unless you have your own toilet, and we do have a toilet in my vehicle, which is the US military specification hygienic toilet that you probably haven't seen.
Perfect.
Okay, Jeremy, that's it. There's nothing further here. This looks quite nice. Looks very, very beautiful. Looks like the tide's out. Quite a few people here. Looks like we're probably the last one. This is the last open campsite left. Oh, wow. This is really, really beautiful. Yep. Very nice spot. Quite a nice spot.
It's the best camping spot we've had in 2 weeks.
I actually think it is the best camping spot we've had.
Yeah, it's really pretty. There's roos everywhere. I've seen 6 now just rolling in here. I think I grew up on the coast, and I've been taking pictures of the ocean my whole life, and it's amazing that even at that, when you come upon water like this and weather and light like this, it's still mesmerizing. I could take pictures of the waves all night. And it's the Indian Ocean. I never thought that I would be taking pictures in the Indian Ocean, so it's pretty special moment. After a week and a half or so on the GiBB Road and the Outback, it's special to see moonlight on the water and have some beautiful shots, and you know, be in a place like this, just really, really special.